my boys, then ages 4 and 1, I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to check on Daddy. So I ran upstairs and I found my husband passed out on the bathroom floor. My first thought was, I'm now a widow with 2 young children. And my second thought was to scream, so I did. Mike, I said. What? And he passed back out. The next half hour was pretty much a blur, running down the stairs, running up the stairs, running down to check on my boys, running up to check on Mike and to wake him up for the 911 operator instructions. And I just kept running and thinking, what should I do? I don't have a plan. I don't know what to do next. I didn't have any answers, and I just kept running and thinking. I thought, 10 years with this man is not long enough. I want more. I thought about how I just yelled at him the other night for working late again. I called him selfish and an absentee father. And of course, at that point, I wished I could take it back. And I just kept running. And I saw my 4-year-old at the top of the stairs at one point, Dr. Kit in his hand, and he said, I'm going to go help Daddy. Right? And I almost lost it. But I knew if I stopped and tried to explain to him what was going on that I was really going to lose it, and I couldn't. I had to keep it together. So I just kept running. And finally I heard the ambulance sirens outside, a loud knock on the door, and about 10 emergency medical personnel came through. And I just pointed upstairs and hung up with the 911 operator. And within a few minutes, they had Mike sitting up in bed, talking, and I peeked in the doorway, and I heard him say, I need to go to work. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense. Even though he's a workaholic, that doesn't make any sense. But then he saw me at a later point, and he said, I need some shorts. So he didn't have to ride to the hospital in just his boxers. And then I smiled, he was making sense again. At the hospital, his monitors would flatline about every 20 minutes. And he could tell when it was going to happen because he would scream, it's happening again, get the nurse! And then he would pass out. The doctors said they didn't know what was wrong with him. The test showed nothing at this point. And the nurses said, just go home, take the boys and go home, we'll call you. And I thought, all right. So I went home, but they did call me within an hour. And they said they were prepping him for surgery to receive a pacemaker.
Oh my God.
And I was like, whew, I was so relieved. A pacemaker was nothing compared to all the scenarios that were running around in my head of what I thought could be wrong with him. They said the electrical system in his heart just is stopping and a pacemaker would help it never stop again. So I was relieved. My dad and my stepmom drove about 9 hours that night to come watch the boys and to let me go to the hospital after Mike's surgery and spend some time with them. And I did, and it was nice. We talked and we watched TV and we sang the praises of medical technology. A little device about the size of a 50-cent piece was in his chest and it saved his life. And we were very grateful. Over the next few months, I saw my family process a bunch of emotions: happiness, fear, sadness, guilt, a whole range of emotions. And for the first time, I was able to see how my own attitude was affecting my life. But now I had the opportunity to change. I wanted to change and I needed to change. Being negative all the time and spewing words of venom was not how I wanted to live, or to show my children how to live. So I started to see my life for all the blessings that I did have. My 2 young boys, my wonderful husband was also a wonderful father to my 2 boys. And I remembered why I fell in love with Mike in the first place. And I saw that he was still that man. I still work on the concept of my life glass being half full instead of half empty. But I think that life is a process. And I'm a work in process, and so is my family. And a little pacemaker helped give me a big attitude change. And for that, I'm very grateful.